In this inspiring conversation, Gloria Battini takes us through her transformative spiritual journey, where she faced and overcame the challenges of anxiety and OCD. Through her story, we learn how she turned trauma into strength using tools like meditation, mindfulness, and an understanding of energetic boundaries. Gloria and I explore the profound effects of technology on our consciousness and stress the importance of living authentically. Together, we encourage us to break free from the societal conditioning, embrace personal growth, and live a life true to ourselves. Please welcome Gloria Battini. Welcome to my show, Gloria.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. So, tell me about your spiritual journey. I mean, we had the meeting, we talked about it, but my audience doesn't know what your spiritual journey was, so please enlighten them.
Yes, my spiritual journey feels like, I feel like I died so many times in this life already. I started in an environment that was very controlled, very suppressed, wasn't allowed to really be myself because you had to behave and be in a certain way. There was a lot of guilt, a lot of shame. And then that stirred my life in a way that it pushed me towards or pulled me towards whichever the wrong people, so the wrong relationship, which I stayed in for a very long time, 15 years. And again, it just kept spiraling down and spiraling down and spiraling down. I was struggling with generalized anxiety and OCD, and then it was dark. It was very dark for a long time. And then I had a beautiful, no, and then I got to a point where I was not able to sustain it anymore, simply. It was just, I really did not know what was going to happen if I didn't do something. And so I decided to pick myself up and go and see a coach. And the main reason at the beginning was literally just to deal with the OCD because it was so loud in my head, so loud, occupying so much space inside my mind and then obviously affecting my daily life as well. So I started from there. But then, that was just the beginning. Within a year and a half, I was able to heal a lot of that, heal, the majority of the OCD, and then found the strength to look after my body, found the strength to then leave the relationship. And then I thought, I'm at the end of a journey, right? Here it is. I finished. I did not realize that it was the very beginning of things instead, it felt very different. And so I started then my own journey back home to myself. And I first retrained to become a coach because I wanted to help women that were in the same situation, that had the same experiences. And I did for a while. But then the more I opened up to myself, the more I got to know my spiritual side and the more I got to see how it was actually my most natural state, of being, what I felt the most at home with. And so after a few explorations, then I decided to retrain again. And now this is what I do for a living. But it took, I started my life as a very, very sensitive and connected child, but I was pulled away from that to conform, And I felt that I've had like first half of my life being a journey away from me. And then the second half, second half so far has been about coming back to me. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting how it works.
I love that. Yeah, no, I'm learning myself, like the old part of me is like dying. I mean, I had an anxiety attack last night and it just came out of nowhere and it was just a thought. And then I had so much static and I never heard so much noise in my life like I did last night. And my heart was just going like crazy. And then my subconscious was like, yo, chill out, relax. You
Yeah.
gotta take a breath. You're over analyzing, you're overthinking. And it was neat because it was telling me, because I've been studying a lot with my coach too, and he's been teaching me about a lot of different forms of meditation, and he introduced me to something that's called flow state, where you visualize yourself already successful and you have people that are cheering and clapping for you and you've already achieved your goals, and you're just, so my subconscious was like, every time you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, go into that state of mind. Stay in that state of mind because it's going to help you. And then it's teaching me mindfulness and being aware of things. So now it's really helped me a lot when it comes to going out in public, because I used to have headaches. I used to get panic attacks because going out in big crowds and all that energy, because I would feel it and I would just I'd hear it almost. It was wild. Like I could hear people's energies and it was just too much. So this new technique I learned, which I've been like putting on my content to like address it to the public so they try it too, and it's been very helpful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It does. I mean, meditation does a lot. Meditation does help a lot. I have to say that it was one of the things that I had looked into when I was at the beginning of my journey. While I was seeing my coach, she was not spiritual. She was specializing in anxiety disorders, but she was more from the cognitive behavioral therapy kind of approach rather than spiritual. And and anyway, it worked for me and it was great at the time. But I thought, started feeling curious about meditation, and I tried, and I remember getting so frustrated because I couldn't focus, and then I thought, and now looking back, now I can meditate for like 45 minutes an hour, and it just goes in like a blink. It really goes like super fast and you're just in this beautiful space. But one thing that I did at the beginning, I expected myself on day one to be like the perfect Tibetan monk state, and I was getting so frustrated with myself. I wanted to achieve it so much, but again, my mind was still interfering. But then I think once you understand, that it's about your way of experiencing spirituality, and also meditation is a practice, it's something that you show up for every single day. It really it can do so much for your life. It can do so much. And there's so many different techniques, so many different, guided meditations out there that you can do as well. I really find it a truly, truly beautiful practice. Yes. Yes.
I understand too your frustration, because when I first started meditating myself, I started with Deepak Chopra and I did the 21 days of abundance and I couldn't see nothing. I was like, what's going on here? I was like, this is frustrating. It's like, yeah, but you just take those 5 minutes. So I started with 5 minutes and now I can do up to an hour. But yeah, it does take practice. But it's like anything. It's like you're training your mind, which is not a muscle that you use often, because we're so numbified by our technology and our cell phones that we kind of like we're losing so much dopamine from like watching Netflix, watching like binge watching shows and watching porn and like smoking marijuana, drinking alcohol. It's taking all that mind power, and then we're numbifying ourselves watching social media videos that make no sense. But it's humor, but it's humor that's not intelligent humor. It's like trying to suck you in and keep you there. It's like almost like a witchcraft. My guest said yesterday, it's almost like witchcraft. Like they're putting a spell on you and hypnotizing you and keeping you tuned in. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've learned that setting a routine. So now I get up at 5 in the morning every morning and I do this thing is called a leaf exercise where I count leaves so I can practice the art of visualization. So I imagine myself in a lotus position sitting in tall grass with a nice teal pond in front of me and a big tall maple tree, and each branch has a leaf that starts to drift, and I count it swaying like 12 times. As it falls, it hits the water, creates a small ripple. That ripple flows into a wave and it taps the side of the wall of the pond, and I just repeat it. The most I've gotten up to was 50, so that was pretty cool.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I'm feeling super, not that I wasn't relaxed before, but I'm feeling super soothed already just by you describing it. It sounds amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that so much.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's that's the cool thing, and like that's another thing that I'm learning about my trauma. Like now I consider my trauma a gift, because I would have never started this podcast. I would have never wrote my book. I would have never started creating content. I would have never met you. I would have never met any of my guests or my coach. I would be in a totally different. I never would be with my fiance. I wouldn't be getting married right now if it hadn't been for my trauma. So I'm thankful for my trauma now and I'm grateful for it. This part of my life actually stirred me into something better. And it's like, even though we get put obstacles in our way, these obstacles are messages to go in another path. You're meant to go here. And I was always told by my teachers, people around me, I wasn't going to amount to anything. And now look at me, like I'm hosting a podcast. I wrote a book. Like that's unheard of for me. Like But it's just those voices in my head that were trying to keep me there. And then when I learned about meditation and the art of it and how it can just empower you, it can motivate you, it can teach you so many ways to just declutter your mind, take stress out, relieve anxiety, remove anxiety, because anxiety doesn't exist. We create anxiety with our thoughts. We create depression with our thoughts, fear, all of that. And that's what my book's about. The unknown enemy known as fear, the strongest opponent.
Wow, that's nice. Yeah, very beautiful. I agree with you with the being thankful for the hardship and for the trauma. There was definitely a time in at the beginning of my journey where I struggled with that. I really struggled with understanding how I could be grateful for abuse. Like did not I could not connect. How the gratitude, what the gratitude for that could be. But then I feel as you heal and you get to understand more and more lessons and more things in your life, and then you change and you get to be the different person, you get to be the healed person, you get to, like you said, connect with different people. And as your life opens up, then you understand exactly that. Oh, wait, I wouldn't be here if that didn't happen, right? And I think these are major wake up calls. I feel that when we reach that point in the journey where we can truly say, you know what, that was horrible, but I am still so, so grateful that it happened. I feel that that's such a pivotal moment in one's journey. Because then after that, whatever's going to happen, every single heart, if you've been able to say, I'm grateful for abuse, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for that trauma, whatever other challenge is going to come in your way after that, you're going to have such a different attitude towards it because you're not going to be scared of it anymore. And you're just going to say, okay, whatever this is, it's going to lead to something. I'm
That's
sure
right.
that there's something in here for me that is going to be great, even though it feels really challenging right now. So I think it's such a, yeah, very important moment in one's journey, I feel.
Well, it's just when people don't understand because they haven't lost anything. So now when there's a significant loss, they feel lost themselves and then they go into a dark hole. Because I know I've seen it with people and they just don't know how to do it and they just live to exist. They don't live to live. And I was in that stasis of mind. I was living to exist. I wasn't living to live. And I was numbifying myself with drugs and alcohol and social media and just binge watching television, just not accumulating anything and not just proving anything to myself or putting any effort into my work or my jobs or anything. It was just nothing there. And it's just once I lost my mother and realized that losing my mother was the blessing that I needed because it brought me to spirituality. It taught me everything. It helped me to become the person that I am. And I'm grateful for the passing of my mother because without my mother dying, I would still be the same person too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So true, so true. It's so important, I think, to be open to that, to be open to that journey, to be open to look inside the very scary place,
That's right.
the very scary place that nobody wants to look at. Do you know what though? It's interesting how, working with my clients and then my own journey as well. What I've come to realize is that when we're born, when we come into this world, we are so confident, we do not doubt ourselves, as like little babies, toddlers, we are so pure, so full of, love for ourselves. We fight for what we want, we overcome the greatest challenges, all these sort of, I don't think there are many challenges that are bigger than actually learning how to speak and walk. Anything else, right? Anything else in life, and we do that as babies, right? We do that as babies because we have this like force inside of us and so much love for ourselves and so much confidence. And because we come into this world as these whole beings, and everything else that then separates us from that is somebody else's pain, isn't it? It comes from somebody else's pain. I think that that was one of the most beautiful, I think, realizations that I've had, that it was, you know what? I've been carrying all of this and it wasn't even because of me. I've been carrying all of this abuse. I've been carrying all of these words, all of this thoughts, this anxiety, this self-destructive behaviors, and they didn't even come from me. I wasn't even born with this stuff, you know? It comes from other people's being hurt and not healing themselves and not understanding. And therefore the cycle goes on and on and on, and it gets passed on and people get more pain. And I think that that was one of those moments where I really thought I can actually free myself anytime here. I was not born with this. I was so not born with this. It's not me. It all comes from like a cycle of hurt, you know? I was so freeing.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the cool thing too, and you realize that hurt people, right? And when they hurt us, they're hurting themselves, as they're hurting from themselves as well, because we don't know their trauma. And that's what I'm learning about the different states of consciousness. And like, you got to be careful when you're around other people, because other people's ideas can get planted in your head, and you don't even realize it's happening. Like we're like kind of like feeding off each other because we're all energetic beings. So therefore, when one person says a word, then it gets inside your head and you don't even realize that it's in your head, and then it starts planting ideas, and then the chatter starts. And that's why I've noticed now, like even when we're around people, like if people are venting, I just kind of let them vent and I don't let their words enter my head, because then they're getting me to their level, then they're getting me to their state of consciousness. And that's the biggest thing we got to be careful of, is be mindful of your thoughts and be aware of everything that's happening around you. Take into consideration what people are doing, but also at the same time, you've got to put a protective barrier around yourself so you don't get into that state of consciousness and you don't become that person.
Yeah, absolutely true. And I think that one of the things that gets overlooked the most by, generally like society, we understand that we have physical boundaries, right? So we understand that if somebody comes and pushes you, they are, physically pushes you, they are breaching that boundaries, right? They are crossing that boundaries. Somebody, it could be spiritual boundaries as well, like when we get attacked these ways. But what we don't get, which I think it's possibly the most important of all, is the energetic boundaries. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks how words have energy, how words have frequencies. Nobody talks about how we have an energy. Nobody, at least like not in the mainstream, things, or not in school, for example, when you should be learning about these things, right? That we have this energy field all around us. And that's how we communicate and we exchange information with the outside world. And so it's not only about declaring what your physical boundaries are, it's also our responsibility to look after our own energy and decide within ourselves what is it that comes in and what is it that stays out. And I think that these should be the boundaries that we are the strictest about, because that's our outermost layer, isn't it? Like it's the field around, it's the outermost layer. So whatever, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna have to bounce off, bounce out of that. But it's not taught in schools. Children are not, most definitely not, it's so still so rare to see. But I know that things are changing for sure. I feel very hopeful.
Oh, so do I, like with just everything that's going on in the world. And like, I don't know, I followed Nostradamus and his prophecies are all coming to a light. And like, it's
Yeah.
snowing right now in Florida. Like, come on, it's snowing in Florida. Like, it snowed in Morocco last year. Like, it's already started to shift. Like, everything's starting to change. And just the energies are like, people are going to be forced to wake up because they're going to have no choice. And I mean, now that AI is fully operational too, like a lot of people are afraid of it. And there's nothing to be afraid of AI. Like, the one thing I've learned about AI is, one of my mentors said it, AI is going to be like you. AI is you. And if you think bad thoughts, then yes, AI is going to go in that way. But if you don't think bad thoughts, then AI is going to be so beneficial and so helpful in many ways. But we're so scared because the media just puts so much fear into us, and we don't even realize it's happening. And it's like they're just planting seeds of doubt, scared thoughts, climate change, inflation, the end of the world, war. And it's just creating the energy field it's not even climate change. It's our energies that are out of whack. And because our energies are out of whack, that's why the earthquakes are happening. That's why the fires are happening, because we have no control over our power. We truly don't know how powerful we are. And we don't understand how it works because we were never taught how it works. You have to literally go outside of the simulation you were created in to figure this out. And a lot of people are going to have to go outside of their box soon because they'll have no choice in the matter because their box is going to get smaller and smaller.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's so many people that, like you said, there's so much fear and terror that is being just spread around, But another thing that I found true is that there are as many realities as there are cell phones. Because your reality nowadays is completely curated to you. So you're going to be shown what scares you, right? You're going to be shown what you're afraid of, what terrorizes you, and you're completely not going to be aware of anything else that is happening in the world. And even one piece of news is going to be manipulated, is not going to be, it is being manipulated to suit X amount of different realities, right? Because it's called a feed for a reason, right? Your social media is called a feed for a reason. Please, let's just wake up here. Yeah. This is what we are feeding ourselves. Imagine that every time you open your phone, you're eating something. You're eating a meal. You're taking a pill. It's something that is coming inside of yourself. Okay. It's a vehicle. It's coming inside of you. And we're all accessing tailor-made realities for our little worlds, for ourselves. And I think that when we come out of this and we start seeing, oh, look, that person is singing that way because that's his feed, or that person is singing that way because that's what they're reading. And that's how it, then we realize, oh, well, hang on a minute. This is all about control. This is all about control. And so I think that the when we get out of that and we start getting into, like you were saying, understanding our energies, completely switching off from whatever it is that the feed is, switching out of the feed and just choosing ourselves and just choosing this beautiful, a lot of people call it spiritual, but I want to call it normal. I want to call it normal. I want to call it normal life, please. I really want to call it normal life. Because I think that's just what we're born to do. That's just what our souls are here to do, just to have a beautiful life experience that is connected to all of the different beautiful beings on this planet, to create something that's of harmony and peace and joy. And because somebody had an idea that they wanted to control somebody else, now it's all fragmented, Let's make it normal, yes. Not spiritual equals normal, please. That's where I want to go. Can we?
Oh, we're going there. It's just gonna take time, right? But really, what is
Yes.
time? Like they even like speed up time, and time's not speeding up. Time's actually quite slow, and you don't notice that until you pick your head off your phone. Like I stopped watching TV, and I've noticed a great change in my mind and just how relaxed I am. And I read more books now, and I journal, and that seems more therapeutic than say sitting down and watching a romantic comedy or the news.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally, totally. And like you were saying, about time, it's not up to time to slow down. It's up to us to slow down our time by taking ourselves out of whatever is making our time go faster. I was
Absolutely.
even noticing this. I was looking at my schedule and I keep saying, I'm so busy. I keep saying, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I've got so much on. I've got so much on. And whose choice is it to put that much on? Let's not lie to ourselves over here, It's totally my choice. And now I'm trying to make it a bit more, there's a certain kind of life that I want to live. I'm a very I love the slow living with the simple pleasures of life, of the cooking bread from scratch and spending a whole afternoon wrapped in a blanket reading, a fantasy book. I love my work profoundly, but I want that to be combined with this type of life. And I caught myself thinking, oh, I'm working so that I can create that life. But it doesn't go like that. You can do that now. You can do that now. It's not about when I get there, I can have this. It's about, no, you're doing it now because that's the life experience that you feel like you need to have on earth. So that's what you're here to do. Why do you have to wait? It's a conditioning that we have to wait, right?
Yeah. Like the past and the future, which don't
Right.
exist. There's only the present. And the more we focus on the past, the more we start to worry, that's where our trauma comes from. That's where depression comes. The more we start to worry about our future, that's where anxiety comes from. That's where fear comes from. It's like, it's almost like a setup. So you're just, and then you basically work yourself for so many years and then you retire, and then they put you in an institution where you're like treated like a child, basically. You have a
Yeah.
bedtime, you have like this and that, and then you die. There's no meaning to life. There's no enjoyment to life. You're just living to work. And once you finish that job, you've done the same thing day in, day out, and you basically just repeated the cycle and didn't change nothing, didn't do anything spectacular with your life or anything, just kept going to the same job day in, day out. And then you retire and you don't even have any money after you retire. So what's the point? What's the point of working yourself to that point where you come to retire and you're like, oh, I got no money. So how am I going to survive? And I got to live now. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you can
So
do
true.
other things.
Yeah, you can do other things. It's so true. And so many people don't believe that they can, though. There's so much conditioning that they really don't believe that they can. I think that's what hurts me the most, makes me the most sad, is how many people think that they can't do it.
Well,
That
it's
is
put
not
in our
enough.
minds. Yeah. And then the jobs we work for too, like you're basically treated like a machine. You're not treated like a human being. Some places, they have a different setup and a different system, but most of the companies you work for, you're literally just a part of the machine.
Yeah,
And you're just helping the cog on the wheel of the machine just go and go and go and go. And then once you're ready to retire, then there's the next person that goes right back into your position. We're all replaceable. So what's the point? If you're replaceable, find something where you're not replaceable. Find something that's meaningful for you. Take whatever, like I took my trauma and I built a podcast around it. Take whatever weakness you think you have and turn it into a superpower. Turn it into something beautiful.
yeah. Or just find out what is it that you love and
That's
just
it.
do that,
Yeah.
right? And just dedicate your life to doing that. You'll figure out the how, the important thing. If there's one thing, actually, if there's one thing, very important thing I think that I learned is that the how you're going to figure it out. The how is all about energy. It's all about energy. If you want to do something and you keep thinking, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do this, but I can't because, I need to finish my job and do that. That's the energy that you're putting out. You're telling the universe that you can't do it. And therefore you keep staying in the same loop. But to break the loop, to break the cycle of this, just start doing it. Just start doing it now. Whatever it is, start before you're ready. It doesn't matter. Just start doing it and you will break the loop. Nothing changes if nothing changes, does it? So break the loop, start before you're ready, for sure.
Love that. Love that. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation, Gloria, and I'm so happy to have met you. And I wish you nothing but continued success and much love to you.
Same to you. Thank you so much, Andrew. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
As we close this powerful discussion, Gloria Battini reminds us that our struggles do not define us. They can be the very catalysts for our transformation. By embracing meditation, mindfulness, and energetic boundaries, we can reclaim our authenticity and step away from societal conditioning. Both Gloria and I inspire you to trust our personal growth journey, to live true to yourselves, and to consciously navigate the world around you. Thank you for joining me on Beyond Transcendence with Andrew. May you find strength in your own journey of self-discovery and embrace the power within. Much love to you all. Bye. And that wraps our show for today. I hope you understand the message behind forgiveness and how it can reward us in so many ways, that we are vibing at a high frequency, and to not let our negative emotions control our destiny and control the way we choose to live our life. I thank you all for listening, and if you want to reach me, my email is btwa2024@gmail.com. You can also leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and much love to all of you. Bye-bye.